Growing up, I always gave a lot of value to the stories that my grandparents told me about this town and about the craft and the tradition and how there's such a strong heritage here that is slowly getting lost. I felt while I was studying design that I kind of had the responsibility to come back to my roots and to give value to it. And so this is kind of how Proxecto Bolina was born. I really wanted to give importance to the heritage of Galicia and integrate it through design and try to give visibility to it. So my name is Amalia Puga. I am the founder of Proxecto Bolina. This is a project that is born in my hometown here in Aguarda. This is a small fishing village where life has always been very much connected to the sea, and I've always felt a very deep connection with my hometown because of its strong tradition and culture and craft. Proxecto Bolina tries to integrate all of the local crafts that with time are forgotten and get lost and disappear, and so we try to give value to these traditions and integrate them in a design process. And we use materials that come back from sea, and we try to give them a second life through pieces that speak not only about the material itself, but also a bit about the tradition, about the craft workers behind it. And so we try to design to tell a story as well. All of our pieces integrate discarded material that returns from sea because of its smaller scale, of the time it's been used. It no longer has use, so we try to integrate it into the process and the creation of our materials, of our pieces. Back in the day, the nets and the ropes were made from natural materials, and this brought a lot of advantages in the process. But with time, plastic came, and so that changed everything. The whole process of the craftspeople, how material was integrated into their daily work. Also the value of the craft was lost a bit through the material itself. Even now, all of the discarded pieces of more traditional materials that we have left in the workshop, we try to integrate them into every piece we create. I connected with the Redeiras about 6 or 7 years ago. I remember coming in, and this was like a whole new world for me. I'd never seen so many nets, so many ropes, so much color, and I spent many weeks with them just studying closer their technique, listening to their stories, just watching them work. And I think this really opened a whole new part of design and creating that I didn't really know before. It was a really beautiful process to start working with them and bringing ideas to their workshop and just trying to experiment together to work with the materials that they already had, which was materials and things that they already saw on their daily basis, but for me it was something very new. So I think this contrast was really interesting, combining kind of design and innovation, which was my background, with tradition and craft and their knowledge. I think this was a really enriching experience for me. It was kind of the starting point for Proxecto Bolina and what made me want to get involved more here. In the beginning, when I started working with the Redeiras, I would bring different sketches and prototypes and plans. I would kind of start experimenting with them and seeing how we could integrate this into a functional piece and the final piece of our projects. With time, we started getting more used to each other and working with each other, and a very strong collaboration began to shape. So nowadays, it's a really nice process because we get to work more organically, and I've learned a lot from them and their technique, and they've also had the opportunity to start being integrated more in design and creative processes. So I think we really understand each other. Whenever we create a project or something new comes by, I bring the ideas to the table, but it's also very collaborative. So I bring the sketches, I bring the ideas and the prototypes, and something that's more formalized into a product or a prototype. But it's very collaborative, and I think it's also the nice part of working together and creating such an enriching experience as well. I always say I try to design to tell stories because I really want people to feel that emotional connection with how a piece is made and who makes it and where it comes from, how is it originated, and the hands and the person that are behind every piece that we create. And we always highlight that every piece is different because each person sews differently and uses techniques differently through their experience. So I think It's a nice way of highlighting also the imperfection of something made with your own hands. I always think that innovating and designing is not only about looking into the future, looking into the new processes. I think sometimes it's also about taking a look back and valuing what we already had and what we already have around us, and giving also value to all the traditional processes and heritage that came from our ancestors.